Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune. This is the 27th of June, 2018. And today's the full moon. So that's pretty cool. Witches everywhere will be drawing down the moon tonight. Of course, when you think it's a satellite, you know, with people in it, it's a little weird, isn't it? The moon is not what we think. At least that's what I think. So my heat pump is not working, so I have no air conditioning for the next couple of days. Tomorrow they're coming. Hopefully it's just that we're out of Freon, but I don't know that you can get that anymore. We have our heat pump's about 20 years old, so they said the last time they were here, you know, that's all going away. You know, that whole type of Freon that they were using back then, or something is going away anyway. So the refrigerant or something. And they're going to replace it with something else. And so I don't even know if this can even be fixed. So I don't know. We'll find out tomorrow. It's always something though, isn't it? Just when you think you don't have to spend any more money. And then there it is. But it's all right. We've had good use out of it. If we have to do something different, then that's what we'll do. So we've been pulling court cards lately, and I have started to interpret that as authority figures that we're dealing with. And normally I like to look at tarot as an internal thing and try not to view it as other stuff coming in at us. But I have to wonder with the prevalence of these court cards, if that's not what this is telling us, that we need to be watching what's going on. And so we'll see. We'll see if we pull one today. I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. No, it's the Three of Pentacles. So that's kind of a positive card because this is about craftsmanship and workmanship and all of that. Here you've got, let's see if I can get it. There, that's better. There you see Three Pentacles up at the top of that archway. And the gentleman over here is a craftsman. And these two people have wandered by and from the village, and they're watching what he's doing. You see structure with the bricks or the masonry up here, that's structure. So 3 is triplicity, mind, body, spirit, things in balance. It's basically about, I know it's tempting to think about structure and all of that, but what this basically is the creative use of our mind, body, and spirit. That's what this is actually what this is talking about. It can also mean the material establishment of something, but again, and if it's that, and if we're looking at an external focus like we've been doing the last few days, then I'm thinking what we're talking about here is how are we balancing all of that within, are we taking care of the needs of people? Are we taking care of the needs within? Because this is done on behalf of others, not just on behalf of the self. I mean, true, the craftsman is working on his craft and he's building that within him. But this is also being done for others. So what kind of even progression are we making right now in our lives? What are we doing? Are we maintaining of mind, body, spirit? Or has that kind of run amok? I think that what we're seeing externally is that it's running amok. And whatever happens outward comes from within. Everything manifests from within. So if we've got a bunch of chaos that we're dealing with, then that's coming from within certain people that have the power to make that happen. And so are we making the best use of our talents here? Are we making the most creative use of our talents by making the choices that we're making here, or that they are, on behalf of everyone? So that's an interesting card. That's an interesting card to draw. I wonder what the rune says. The other thing about this is that there's a sense of nurturing about this card. The thing about pentacles, and that's what I like about it, is that they represent our foundation, our material presence in the world. And so you can see where, if someone is real materialistic, that it can get out of hand. And pretty soon that's all they think about is the material possessions. But when you can think about those things and think about how they might beautify someone else's life. I mean, clearly, this is a beautiful scene. I mean, look at what he's building and creating. And it's on display for everyone to see. It's something positive that people can come by and they can congratulate him and say, wow, what a great job you're doing. Look at what you're doing for all of us. I don't think that happens when you can't care about people. You know, the craftsman in this scene cares about his work, and he cares about what the work is going to do to benefit others. Even if it's just to make something look nice. You know, I've got a neighbor across the street. She's doing all kinds of things to her yard. And she's doing it to create a conversation because they're unique things. It's not the traditional yard stuff. So she's basically creating a conversation in the neighborhood. And you either like that, or you either like what she's done or you don't. But the bottom line is it's a means of interaction. It's a means of communication with others. It's positive and it's fun. So, you know, she uses a lot of bright colors. And so some people don't care for bright colors. They like more subdued stuff. So you might not always, you know, like the colors that she's using up there, but she's trying to do something that is more than just for herself. It's not just for her, it's for everyone else. And it's such a lovely thing to do, isn't it? So when we walk by, we just enjoy so much looking because it's fun. And she's done it not just for her, and it's clear, you know, that comes through. And what comes through in this card is he's not doing this just for himself. So something to think about. So the rune is Suolo. We haven't seen this one yet. Ooh, no. All right, let me get it right in my hand. There. It's like, it's a lightning bolt. Represents the sun and vitality. It's one of the runes of higher self-consciousness. And again, it's telling us to let spirit inform our work. I think it's in the third Ayet. I have to count in my head here. Well, it's the 16th rune of the Elder Futhark, so that's number 7, or that would be numerologically a 7. And again, another thing about 7 is that it's like the resting point. You know, I've talked about it being representing balance, you know, where it's in the center and then you've got the 2 pans on either side, a 3 and 3 and the 1. Well, it's also a resting point, isn't it? Where we just rest and we bring everything to balance. But this is higher self talking, okay? Higher self is influencing today when we see Suolo come forth. It's the rune of the will. It represents spiritual energy and healing and self-confidence. But basically, it strengthens any kind of, if you put it into a bind rune, it's going to strengthen that magic. It illuminates. But basically, it brings strength and success and victory. We just want to make sure that that's on behalf of others and not just on behalf of a chosen few. Swillow is about what guides us. So if we're guided by service to self focus, a service to self focus, you can see where, as long as it doesn't hurt anyone else, you're fine. But typically a service to self focus does. It's about conquest. It's about authoritarianism. It's about controlling others. Instead of extending love to others, you would want to control them. And so I think what we're seeing a lot of right now is a manifestation of that. And it's not doing things in service to others. Here, we have a service to others focus. And that's what we need to have inform us. It needs to inform our will. And since Sowilo is the rune of the higher self, then it's telling us again that the higher self needs to influence and inform what it is that we're doing. So are our efforts purely for ourselves? Are they purely for a chosen few, for the wealthiest among us in this case? Or are they going to be benefiting the regular folks out there? Is it going to be benefiting the worker? Is it going to be benefiting the other folks that are benefiting from the worker? You know, when you, the funny thing about tariffs, not that's actually happening is another story. Then they're going to have to respond. They have to. You know, when we were in business, one thing that I think customers have a hard time understanding, well, I mean, I think they understand it, they just don't want to, because it affects them, is that when our cost of business went up, of doing business went up, so did theirs. So when you have tariffs that then cause this back and forth, well, I'm going to do this to you. Okay, well, then we're going to do this to you. Okay, well, then I'm going to do this to you. What we have is an escalating problem that's only going to trickle down to the rest of us. So we can pretend that we're not. You can sit and say, oh, we believe this guy, and if he's doing it, it must be right. I read that the other day. Really? Haven't we learned that politicians, any people, they don't do that? They're always doing this for themselves. It's not about anyone else. So when they're trying to hurt people, you've got to look at who benefits. It certainly ain't going to be any of us. I'll tell you that. So again, if higher self was informing these folks, then the outcome would be very different. The choices that they make, the decisions they make that affect all of us would be very, very different. I talked a little bit yesterday about this thing that's happening with Harley. You know, we're not in that business anymore, but I can tell you, these folks, I was reading on Twitter, it's like, oh yeah, we're waiting for you, like you destroyed your Keurigs, so now you're going to go out and destroy your motorcycle. No, they're not going to do that. These bikes are incredibly expensive. I mean, just to purchase one, and then to service it, and then if you want to build it, I mean, everyone wants to build the engine, so you know that costs a fortune. You got to tune it. I used to tune motorcycles, so I know what that is. You know, I know what it is in a bit from a business sense, what the equipment you have to have. We had to have a dyno and we tune fuel injection. So on all ends here, whether it's the little shop, the big shop, the dealership, whether it's the customer, whether it's the company itself, when you create these escalating imbalances, it's only going to affect other people. What this card is suggesting is that we respect the work. We try to find a way forward here that's in balance. If there's a problem trade-wise with a country, then fine, talk it out, figure out what's going to work best for everybody. But that's not what happens. Instead, we're going to throw a bomb in the water and you know, blow it all up. Well, I don't think that that's going to. Again, are we allowing authoritarianism to inform us? because that's the ego run amok, all right? That's the lower self governing everything. Or are we going to let Sowillo in and let it inform us and inform our spirit? Let spirit inform our let the spirit of the mind, body, spirit inform us. There we go. And make it about everyone else. When you run a country, it's about everybody else. It's about the people there. It's not about this business deal or that business deal that isn't a deal at all. It's about making all of this work for all of us. And that's what this man seeks to do. He seeks to make this work for everyone. So, if we're experiencing in our personal lives, maybe we need to figure out what we're doing to make what we're doing work for everyone. And send good, positive thoughts out into the ether today. Hopefully it will affect our way forward. Hopefully some of these things will be rethought and it'll be seen to not work. And hopefully we will be able to change course quickly. So in any event, that's what we got for today. The Three of Pentacles and Sowillo. So have a lovely day. And thanks so much for watching. If you'd like, go over to my blog, Stepping Aside. There's more tarot readings over there that are more than just a one-card reading. I'm doing a series on there right now called Exploring Tarot. And I just did one yesterday on the Druidcraft Tarot. It was just a 3-card reading. But what I'm doing is I'm just taking a look at all the tarot decks I have, and I've got a ton. So probably through the year. And I don't know, I can't stop buying them. But the other thing that's on there, I do rune castings, and there's some astrology and design, and some just some ranting, some personal stuff that I talk about, beliefs and whatnot. And and the other thing I've been doing is geomancy. Geomancy is another type of divination tool, and I like sigils, so of course it fits right in. And I've been doing that as well. I like how geomancy works. Once a month, I'm trying to do it in lieu of like a lunar, like a monthly report, astrological report, like lunar transits or something. I'm trying to do one once a month for that in lieu of that. So, and it's interesting. It gives a different perspective that I just find fascinating. So check that out. It's over at Stepping Aside at imsteppingaside.com. And have a wonderful day, and blessed be.